This audiobook unveils why money obeys a forbidden energy, an ancient wisdom long kept from the masses. Wealth moves like water toward those who understand its living essence. Now is your time to reclaim this truth and let abundance flow freely into your life. Money obeys a forbidden energy. Introduction. Hidden in the scrolls of forgotten ages rests a secret so radiant it was veiled from the eyes of ordinary men, the forbidden union between consciousness and wealth. For money is not mere coin nor paper, but a living current of energy, flowing like a sacred river toward those who know how to command its tide with thought and word. This wisdom was not concealed because it is perilous, but because it is liberating. The world has been taught to bow before labor and sacrifice, chasing riches as though they are elusive prey. Yet the universe bends not to chance but to law, and law declares that what you magnetize within must appear without. As iron cannot resist the pull of the magnet, so too abundance cannot resist the vibration of an awakened mind. The path is not carved by toil, but by remembrance. When you speak to money as a sovereign rather than as a beggar, it heeds your voice. Your words are incantations, able to summon wealth or drive it away, depending on the resonance you release. Within these chapters, you will rediscover your ancient covenant with prosperity. You will loosen the ancestral chains of scarcity and rise into sacred partnership with wealth itself. To prosper is not sin, but proof of your harmony with eternal principles. The rose does not apologize for its bloom, nor should you for your abundance. Through these practices, you shall attune to the secret frequency of wealth where thought, feeling, and word converge into irresistible power. In this alignment, money obeys, not through force, but through the forgotten authority that has always been yours. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. The Awakening of the Magnetic Mind. Chapter 1. The Whisper of Wealth. In a small village where mountains whisper ancient secrets to the valley below, Lupe tended her modest kitchen garden. Each morning, she would pause before her jalapeno plants, marveling at their resilience. While other crops withered under the harsh sun, her peppers flourished with minimal water, their glossy green pods multiplying week after week. "How curious," she murmured one dawn, "that these little ones grow so abundantly when I simply notice their progress and celebrate their strength." As she traced her fingers along their leaves, understanding dawned in her heart. The plants that received her attention and appreciation returned her love manifold. This revelation extends beyond garden walls into the realm of prosperity. When you acknowledge the money that flows through your life, whether modest or magnificent, it responds to your recognition. Like Lupe's jalapenos, wealth multiplies under the warmth of gratitude rather than the shadow of worry. In the same village lived young Mateo, whose simple practice transformed his relationship with money. Each morning, he would gather his coins, even the smallest copper pieces, and whisper blessings into them. "Thank you for choosing me as your guardian. May you multiply and return, bringing more abundance." At first, the other children laughed at his ritual, but soon they noticed how Mateo would find coins in unexpected places, beneath market stalls, near the village well, or tucked in forgotten corners. More remarkably, generous relatives would press extra coins into his palm, saying they felt moved to share their good fortune with him. Your words carry power beyond measure. When you speak to money with love and reverence, it transforms from a mere tool into a loyal ally. Like Mateo's blessed coins, your wealth responds to the vibration of your language. Every expression of gratitude becomes a magnetic force, drawing more abundance into your sphere. The ancient practice: begin each morning by softly saying, "Money flows to me because I honor it with love." That phrase is a powerful affirmation because it ties abundance directly to respect and gratitude. By framing money as something you honor with love, you're reminding yourself that financial energy responds to care, responsibility, and appreciation. When spoken gently each morning, it becomes less of a demand and more of an invitation, aligning your mindset with openness and flow instead of pressure or scarcity. The key is consistency. Starting your day with this affirmation creates a ritual that signals to your subconscious that you are in harmony with receiving. Over time, it builds a subtle but steady belief system that wealth and prosperity are natural outcomes of respect and intention. This shift can reduce stress, increase motivation, and even help you notice opportunities that align with financial growth. To deepen the practice, try pairing the words with breathwork or visualization. For example, inhale while thinking, "Money flows to me." Exhale while affirming, "Because I honor it with love." You can also picture streams of golden energy moving toward you and settling peacefully in your life. This way, the words are not just spoken, but felt, and feelings are what transform affirmations into lived experiences. Chapter 2: The Golden Mirror. Through the ages, a sacred truth has echoed. Your self-image shapes the material world's response to your presence. This wisdom unfolds in the tale of Ramona, who lived in a small coastal town where fishing nets captured the day's bounty. Though her garments were simple and her means modest, she made a powerful choice that would alter the course of her destiny. Each morning, as she gazed into her weathered mirror, Ramona chose to see beyond the surface. Where others might have noticed worn fabric or faded colors, she trained her eyes to recognize the radiance of abundance that emanated from within. "I am wealthy," she would whisper to her reflection, letting the truth of these words sink into her being. She carried herself as though prosperity already flowed through her life, and gradually the world began to mirror her inner vision. The universe responds not to your circumstances, but to your perception of yourself. When you stand before your reflection and recognize your inherent abundance, you activate an ancient law that transforms your material reality. Your self-image becomes a magnet, drawing to you experiences that match your inner knowing. This principle found another expression through Esteban, a humble shopkeeper who understood the alchemy of appreciation. While others hastily stuffed bills into their wallets, Esteban developed a sacred ritual. Each time he received money, whether a single dollar or more, he would pause to smile at it, carefully placing it in his wallet with genuine gratitude. "Welcome, my friend," he would say softly to each bill, treating it as a treasured guest in his home. This practice, seemingly simple, carried immense power. Within months, forgotten debts from years past found their way back to him. Old customers appeared with payments they had suddenly remembered, each expressing how they had felt mysteriously compelled to clear their accounts. This truth remains constant. When you honor the small sums in your life, you open channels for greater abundance to flow. Your reverence for what you have now becomes an invitation for more to enter. The universe recognizes your gratitude and multiplies what you appreciate. The ancient practice stand tonight before your reflection and affirm, I am already rich, and money dances toward me joyfully. That affirmation is rooted in two strong energies, certainty and joy. By saying, I am already rich, you're declaring that abundance is not a distant goal, but a present reality within you. This shifts your mindset away from lack and into fullness, allowing you to attract and recognize opportunities from a place of confidence. The second part, money dances toward me joyfully, adds playfulness and flow, reminding you that prosperity can arrive with ease, not struggle. When spoken in front of your reflection, the practice gains even more power. Looking into your own eyes while affirming wealth creates a deep, subconscious connection, reinforcing the belief that you are the source of your abundance. The mirror magnifies both your words and your presence, making it harder for doubt to slip in. This act becomes less about repeating words and more about embodying them. For an even richer ritual, stand tall, smile softly, and breathe slowly as you speak. Imagine money not as paper or numbers, but as vibrant energy swirling toward you in light, movement, or even sound, like a joyful dance. Let yourself feel the lightness and gratitude of already being supported. In doing so, you transform a simple nightly affirmation into a magnetic force for prosperity. Chapter 3. The Voice That Commands. In a bustling office building where ambition often whispered but rarely roared, Dolores sat quietly at her desk, her worth locked behind pursed lips. For years she had watched others advance while she remained still, like a flower afraid to reach for the sun. Yet within her burned a truth she could no longer contain. Her value far exceeded her current position. One morning, as sunlight streamed through the windows, Dolores discovered an ancient knowing stirring in her heart. The universe responds not to silent wishes, but to voiced intentions. With this awakening, she straightened her spine, lifted her chin, and walked purposefully into her supervisor's office. Her voice, clear as morning bells, rang with certainty as she spoke of her contributions and worth. To her amazement, her supervisor not only agreed, but offered more than she had dared to request. The power of voiced intention extends beyond mere communication. It is a spiritual law as old as creation itself. When you speak with certainty and gratitude, you activate vibrations that resonate with the very fabric of abundance. Your voice becomes a key that unlocks the treasury of the universe. This truth found further expression through Ignacio, a humble shopkeeper who discovered the melodic nature of prosperity. Each dawn, before the world stirred from its slumber, he would step into his garden and sing his intentions to the rising sun. His songs carried no particular tune, but flowed with pure joy and expectation. Abundance flows to me, he would sing, as naturally as rivers run to sea. Within weeks, forgotten debts were repaid, unexpected opportunities emerged, and checks arrived from sources he had never anticipated. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting only for his melody of certainty to orchestrate its response. These experiences reveal a fundamental truth. Spoken words carry creative force. When aligned with gratitude and certainty, they become magnetic charges that attract their physical equivalents. Silent wishes may plant seeds, but voiced declarations water them with the power of manifestation. The practice of this wisdom requires nothing more than your voice and your trust. Stand each morning in a quiet space and with unwavering conviction speak these words aloud. Money, I call you now, and you obey joyfully. Chapter 4. The River of Permission. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Rafaela stood behind her small flower stall, arranging blossoms with careful hands that betrayed her hesitation. Though her arrangements were masterpieces of color and grace, she priced them modestly, always fearful that asking for more would mark her as greedy. Each time a customer praised her work and suggested she charge more, Rafaela would smile softly and shake her head. Her shoulders curved inward as if to make herself invisible. One night, in the depths of slumber, Rafaela dreamed of standing beside a mighty river. The waters flowed pure and strong, carrying golden leaves upon its surface. Yet where the banks grew narrow with fallen trees and debris, the river became thin and weak. A voice like wind through ancient trees whispered, "See how the river flows freely where space is made for its journey." It does not apologize for its abundance, nor does it hesitate to fill every welcoming channel. Upon waking, Rafaela understood she had been placing obstacles in her own stream of abundance, damming its flow with beliefs of unworthiness. The universe's wealth, like water, seeks to flow wherever channels are open. Those who constrict themselves with guilt and fear create the very scarcity they dread. In the marketplace of life, abundance flows not to those who prove themselves worthy, but to those who stand ready to receive. Just as the river needs open banks to flow fully, prosperity requires souls who dare to expand their capacity to receive without shame. Carmen's tale mirrors this truth. As a talented chef, she had always minimized her gifts, apologizing whenever someone paid her for a catered meal or praised her culinary creations. "I'm sorry it's so expensive," she would say, or "I'm sorry to take your money." But one day, she replaced every "I'm sorry" with "thank you." When clients paid, she responded with, "Thank you for valuing my work." When they praised her food, she said, "Thank you for allowing me to share my passion." Within weeks, her client list doubled. Previous customers began referring her to wealthy families, and a local restaurant offered her a partnership. The simple act of receiving with gratitude instead of apology had opened floodgates of opportunity. Your relationship with wealth mirrors these stories. Each time you shrink from abundance or apologize for desiring prosperity, you narrow the channel through which abundance can flow. Yet when you stand in the full light of your desires, refusing to dim your light or minimize your worth, you create space for wealth to flow naturally into your life. Whisper with conviction, "I give wealth full permission to flood into my life." That whisper carries a subtle but powerful shift. It's not about chasing wealth, but allowing it. By saying, "I give wealth full permission to flood into my life," you're releasing resistance and inviting prosperity to flow naturally. Often, the barrier to abundance isn't the absence of opportunities, but unconscious beliefs that keep them at bay. This affirmation clears that doorway by consciously granting wealth entry, as if you are swinging the gates wide open. Whispering it adds intimacy and depth. A whisper bypasses the noise of everyday chatter and drops straight into your subconscious, like a secret pact with yourself. Speaking with conviction makes it more than words. It becomes a declaration that vibrates with truth, felt rather than forced. You are telling your inner self that abundance is safe, welcome, and unlimited. To make this practice even more magnetic, imagine as you whisper that a gentle tide of golden water is rising around you, warm, sparkling, and unstoppable. Feel it flooding your life, filling your home with comfort, your mind with peace, and your path with endless opportunities. This way, your whisper becomes not just a statement, but a sensory experience, aligning your whole being with the permission you've just granted. Chapter 5. The Secret of Overflow. In a bustling restaurant between towering buildings, Julio noticed something extraordinary. Each time he carried plates to his tables, he began offering silent blessings of gratitude. May this meal bring joy, he would think, his heart expanding with genuine warmth. At first, it seemed like a coincidence. The tips grew larger, customers smiled more often, and even the most particular patrons left with contentment in their eyes. The universe operates through an ancient principle. What flows from within creates the conditions without. When you generate a current of genuine blessing, that same current returns multiplied. Like a stream gathering force as it descends the mountain, your inner state of abundance creates ripples that transform into waves of prosperity. Through Julio's discovery, you glimpse a fundamental truth. Wealth responds not to grasping hands, but to an overflowing spirit. The universe mirrors back what you put forth. When your heart beats with generosity, material abundance naturally follows. This wisdom found another expression through Catalina, who began leaving small gifts in unexpected places. A coin on a park bench, an encouraging note with a small tip for the newspaper vendor, a flower placed on a neighbor's doorstep. She did not track these offerings or expect return. She simply allowed her spirit of abundance to flow freely. Within weeks, mysterious blessings began appearing in her own life. An unexpected refund arrived in the mail. A forgotten investment yielded surprising returns. A client doubled her usual payment, saying simply, "Your work brings such value." What Catalina discovered mirrors an eternal truth. The universe operates through circulation. When you create channels for giving, you simultaneously create channels for receiving. Your generous spirit becomes a magnetic force, attracting prosperity through the same pathways you use to bless others. This ancient wisdom whispers that true abundance springs not from accumulation, but from circulation. Like a river that stays fresh through constant flow, wealth multiplies when allowed to move freely through your life, both in giving and receiving. Daily practice. Affirm daily. I live in overflow, and money cannot resist me. Repeating this daily sets the tone for your relationship with prosperity. Instead of striving, you're practicing being. The affirmation doesn't position wealth as something you must chase. It declares that your very energy is irresistible to it. Over time, this builds a deep inner belief that transforms how you see opportunities, how you carry yourself, and even how others respond to you. Belief attracts alignment, and alignment attracts flow. To embody this, try saying it each morning while placing your hand on your solar plexus or heart. Speak slowly, letting each word sink in, and imagine golden rivers of energy spilling outward from you, circling back in endless loops. This visualization reinforces that overflow is your natural state, and money is simply responding to your radiance. The more you feel the truth of these words, the more you step into the reality they describe. Chapter 6. The Dance of Desire. In the ancient mountain village, Paloma inherited her grandmother's small herbal shop, yet kept her grander vision locked away in her heart. Each morning, as she arranged dried flowers and medicinal roots, a voice inside whispered of teaching healing wisdom to thousands. But she silenced this calling, believing such dreams too vast for someone of her simple means. One dawn, as sunlight streamed through dusty windows, Paloma discovered an old leather journal beneath the shop's floorboards. Its empty chapters seemed to invite her deepest truth. In that moment, she chose courage over fear. With trembling hands, she wrote of a healing academy where students would gather from distant lands, of gardens filled with rare medicines, of wisdom shared through sacred circles. The moment she committed these dreams to paper, the universe began to move. A traveling physician, lost in the village, wandered into her shop and recognized rare herbs she had cultivated. Within weeks, her small store became a stopover for healers seeking her knowledge. Her written words had opened an invisible door, transforming thought into physical reality. The teaching reveals a sacred truth. When desire remains unspoken, it cannot take form. Just as the universe needed words to create worlds, your dreams require expression to manifest. Writing crystallizes intention, transforming ethereal wishes into seeds that the universe can nurture into reality. In a bustling city marketplace, young Angel sat at his fruit stand, sketching symbols of prosperity in his notebook's margins: coins, keys, flowing water. He drew them absently, yet with each stroke, these symbols spoke to the invisible realm. One afternoon, a merchant noticed his drawings and offered him work designing market signs. The payment matched precisely the sum Angel had imagined while drawing. This truth echoes across time. The symbols you create become bridges between thought and matter. Whether through words or images, expressed desire provides a blueprint that money follows faithfully. Your conscious act of recording dreams sends ripples through the fabric of reality, attracting the very experiences you've dared to imagine. The universe awaits your instructions, ready to transform your written word into living truth. Tonight, write one desire and read it aloud, saying, "This is mine, and money builds it for me." Chapter 7. The Doorway of Gratitude. Once there lived a woman named Sophia who awakened each morning to what seemed like endless scarcity. Her apartment was modest, her clothes well worn, and her pantry often bare. Yet within her heart stirred an ancient wisdom waiting to be uncovered. One morning, as steam rose from her simple cup of coffee, the one luxury she allowed herself, something shifted in her understanding. Instead of seeing just a humble beverage, she began treating each sip as though it were liquid gold, a precious gift from the universe itself. "Thank you for your richness," she would whisper to her cup. "Thank you for your abundance." Day after day, Sophia continued this practice, speaking to her morning coffee as if it were the very essence of wealth. Gradually, her perception began to change. The scarcity that had once clouded her vision started to dissolve, replaced by an awareness of the abundance already present in her life. This simple truth reveals itself. Gratitude is the key that unlocks wealth's door. When you recognize and appreciate what exists before you, you activate an ancient law of multiplication. Your thankfulness becomes a magnetic force, drawing more blessings toward you with unstoppable momentum. Consider Diego, who owned an aging car that others might have viewed with shame. Yet he chose a different path. Each morning, he would touch his car's worn steering wheel and speak words of genuine appreciation. "Thank you for carrying me safely. You are as precious as gold to me." He maintained this practice faithfully, treating his old vehicle as though it were a treasure beyond measure. Within months, through a series of unexpected events, a relative who was moving overseas offered Diego their nearly new car, a gift that arrived precisely because he had learned to appreciate what he already possessed. This story illuminates a universal principle. When you express heartfelt gratitude for what exists in your life, you activate the energy of multiplication. Your thanksgiving becomes a signal to the universe, calling forth greater abundance. Like attracts like, and gratitude attracts more to be grateful for. The practice of appreciation transforms your relationship with abundance. Every object, every experience, every circumstance contains the seed of greater wealth when recognized with genuine thanks. Speak tonight. Everything I touch multiplies because I thank it deeply. That affirmation places gratitude at the very heart of prosperity. By declaring, "Everything I touch multiplies because I thank it deeply," you connect the act of appreciation with the law of increase. Gratitude signals to your mind and to the flow of life that what you already have is valuable and worthy of expansion. In this way, multiplication isn't forced. It's the natural result of reverence and acknowledgement. Speaking it tonight adds a layer of stillness and reflection. The evening is when the subconscious softens, making it easier to plant seeds of belief. Saying these words before rest allows them to echo in your dreams and settle into your energy field overnight. You're not just affirming wealth, but aligning yourself with a cycle. Touch, thank, and receive more. To deepen the practice, hold an object that symbolizes abundance for you. A coin, a piece of jewelry, or even a journal. As you speak the affirmation, imagine light radiating from your touch, flowing into the object, and then multiplying outward into your life. Let the feeling of thankfulness swell in your chest. In doing so, you transform a simple statement into a living ritual of expansion. Chapter 8. The Currency of Joy. In a small corner of a bustling neighborhood, Marisol discovered a truth that would transform her understanding of abundance. As she watched her young nephew perform his playful antics, his infectious laughter filled the room. With each giggle, she felt her spirit lifting, her worries dissolving like morning mist. Without realizing the profound shift taking place, Marisol found herself caught up in pure, unrestrained joy. The bills on her table, the deadlines at work, all seemed to fade in the light of this simple happiness. And then something remarkable occurred. In the days that followed, opportunities appeared as if by magic. A forgotten rebate arrived in the mail, a client offered unexpected additional work, and a long-standing invoice was finally paid. This reveals an eternal truth. Joy is the purest currency in the universal exchange. When your inner world resonates with authentic happiness, the outer world responds in kind. Money, being energy in motion, naturally flows toward those frequencies that match its own inherent abundance. Think of joy as a tuning fork, adjusting your inner vibration to match the frequency of prosperity. When you allow yourself to experience genuine happiness, you unknowingly align with the natural state of abundance that surrounds you always. Armando's story further illuminates this principle. Each morning, before the world stirred from its slumber, he would close his curtains and dance freely to music that moved his soul. No choreography, no audience, just pure, uninhibited expression. At first it felt foolish, yet he persisted in this practice of joy. As weeks passed, solutions to financial challenges that had long plagued him began appearing without effort. A creative idea for restructuring his debt emerged during one of these morning sessions. A forgotten investment suddenly matured. The universe, it seemed, was dancing along with him. This wisdom speaks to the highest truth about abundance. Joy is not merely an emotion, it is a transmission. When you radiate genuine happiness, you broadcast a signal that the universe cannot help but answer. Like attracts like, and the joy you emanate becomes a magnet for prosperity in all its forms. Each morning, smile wide and declare, "I earn with joy, I live with joy, and money follows my joy." Say it smiling so your nervous system gets the message that abundance is safe and welcome. A genuine smile nudges your physiology toward openness. Pairing that with the words, "I earn with joy," conditions your mind to look for and choose energizing paths to income. Over time, this trains you to notice the projects, clients, and ideas that feel light and expansive, and to release what drains you. For practice, each morning, speak the affirmation once aloud, then identify one joyful micro-action you'll take today, a friendly outreach, a playful tweak to a project, 5 minutes of inspired brainstorming. In the evening, note one way money or opportunity followed that joy, even subtly. This closes the loop. Express joy, act in joy, witness returns, small compounding proofs that reinforce the truth you're declaring. Chapter 9. The Treasure of Belief. In a small village among rolling hills, Rosalinda worked tirelessly at her family's modest shop, carrying the weight of generations who had whispered, "Money is hard to get." These words had wrapped around her thoughts like vines, choking the possibility of abundance. Each morning, she would count the meager earnings, sighing at the familiar emptiness in the register. Yet one dawn, as sunlight painted the shop's worn wooden counter, a different whisper emerged from deep within her consciousness. What if money comes easily? The thought startled her, foreign yet fascinating. At first she pushed it away, but it persisted, gentle yet unwavering. This simple shift in perception began to alter the fabric of her reality. When customers entered, she greeted them not with desperation, but with genuine warmth. She spoke of her wares not as items to be sold, but as treasures waiting to find their rightful homes. Within weeks, the shop's energy transformed, and so did its fortunes. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you believe with unwavering certainty. Your beliefs are commands that shape the very substance of existence. When you declare a truth within yourself, the universe has no choice but to mirror that truth in your external reality. Thomas, a craftsman, embraced this wisdom with remarkable results. Where once he saw casual conversations as mere pleasantries, He began viewing each interaction as golden opportunities disguised as ordinary moments. He listened differently, spoke with quiet conviction about his work, and treated every word exchanged as a seed of potential prosperity. Soon, these seeds sprouted into unexpected connections. A chance conversation at the market led to a commission from a wealthy collector. A friendly exchange with a neighbor connected him to an international buyer. Within months, his income had tripled, not through aggressive selling, but through his unshakable belief that every moment carried the potential for abundance. Your beliefs are not mere thoughts floating in your mind. They are the very commands that reality must obey. When you shift from "money is hard to get" to "money flows easily," you're not just changing words. You're redirecting the entire current of universal energy. The wisdom hidden in these stories reveals that belief is the compass that guides wealth to your door. When you plant your feet firmly in the soil of abundance consciousness, prosperity has no choice but to grow where you stand. Turn these words into living truth by practicing this ancient affirmation. Stand before the rising sun and speak with quiet authority. I believe money is easy, and so it is. Chapter 10. The Silence That Speaks. In the heart of an ancient town, Esperanza knelt each night by her bedside, her prayers for prosperity growing more desperate with each passing day. Her whispered pleas echoed against the walls, yet the more fervently she begged, the more distant abundance seemed to become. Her exhaustion finally led her to surrender, not in defeat, but in pure acceptance. One evening, instead of her usual litany of requests, she simply sat in complete silence. In that sacred stillness, something shifted. The universe, no longer bombarded by her anxious petitions, found space to respond. Within days, an inheritance she had forgotten about surfaced. A client doubled their order, and opportunities emerged as naturally as flowers blooming in spring. This truth has echoed through the corridors of time. Silence holds a magnetic power that surpasses endless asking. When you cease the constant chatter of want and worry, you create a vacuum that the universe rushes to fill. Your quietness becomes consent for abundance to flow. In silence, you acknowledge that the universe already knows your needs. Your stillness declares, I trust. This is not passive waiting, but active allowing, a profound state of receptivity that attracts prosperity more powerfully than any spoken word. Marco discovered this wisdom during his daily walks. Instead of filling his mind with schemes and strategies for wealth, he simply breathed in the morning air, allowing his footsteps to fall in quiet trust. He made no demands, voiced no desires. He simply walked in peaceful certainty that all was well. As his mind grew still, the channels of abundance cleared. A forgotten investment matured. A business partner proposed an unexpected venture. A relative offered to fund his long-held dream. Multiple streams of income began flowing, not because he chased them, but because he had created the space for them to arrive. Your relationship with money transforms when you release the need to constantly summon it. In stillness, you communicate something profound to the universe, that you trust its timing, its methods, its abundance. This trust, this silence, becomes a powerful declaration that draws wealth more surely than endless affirmations. When you sit in silence, you align with the natural flow of prosperity. You step out of the way and allow universal intelligence to orchestrate your abundance in ways your limited mind could never imagine. Your quiet confidence becomes a magnetic force that money cannot resist. The practice. Sitting in silence each night is a way of letting abundance speak to you without interference. By simply breathing with the intention of drawing wealth into your being, you bypass the chatter of requests and enter the receptive state where prosperity can be felt rather than chased. 2 minutes of presence may seem small, but it teaches your body and mind that richness is not earned through effort alone. It can also be received through stillness. The absence of words is important here. Without affirmations or mental noise, the practice becomes a direct experience, not a negotiation. As you inhale, imagine that wealth is more than money. It is comfort, freedom, beauty, and opportunities. As you exhale, feel your body relaxing into the truth that you are already supported. This quiet communion nourishes the belief that abundance is your natural state. Over time, those 2 silent minutes will become a magnetic anchor in your day. They create a contrast to the outward activity of earning and striving, reminding you that receptivity is just as powerful as action. Wealth in all its forms begins to feel like a breath itself, always available, always flowing, always within you. Part 2. The Mastery of Magnetic Living. Chapter 11. The Key of Imagination. Valeria, a factory worker, discovered the hidden power of tactile imagination quite by accident. After long shifts at work, she would walk past beautiful homes in her neighborhood, allowing her mind to paint vivid pictures. Each night she began a sacred ritual. In her imagination she approached a sun-drenched house with flowering jasmine climbing its walls. With eyes closed, she felt her fingers trace the smooth wooden doorframe, breathed in the scent of fresh paint, and experienced the cool metal of keys in her palm. Night after night, she sustained this practice, refusing to dismiss it as mere fantasy. The universe responded to her unwavering vision with stunning precision. Within weeks, her supervisor mentioned a special employee home ownership program, and papers arrived offering her precisely the kind of home she had been touching in her mind. This revelation unveils an ageless truth. Imagination is the sacred womb where reality first takes form. The physical world must conform to what the inner eye has already witnessed and the inner hand has already touched. Your imaginative faculty is not a place of escape. It is the workshop where tomorrow's treasures are forged today. Javier understood this principle in his own way. Each morning, he would open his journal and sketch crisp $100 bills with careful attention to detail. He drew the edges, the numbers, even the subtle texture of the paper. More than drawing, he was planting seeds in the fertile soil of universal law. Within a month, an investment he had forgotten about matured, yielding almost the exact sum he had been sketching. The universe had matched his imaginal acts with precise material fulfillment. This was no coincidence. It was cosmic law responding to focused imagination. Your imagination is not a theater of empty wishes. It is the blueprint room where reality receives its instructions. What you touch in your mind today becomes what you hold in your hands tomorrow. The physical world has no choice but to shape itself around your sustained mental images. Each night, imagine yourself touching something you desire, as if it already belongs to you. Whisper, "If I can feel it, I can hold it." Treat this like a nightly rehearsal of certainty, When you imagine touching what you desire as if it's already yours, you're training your nervous system to recognize that state as normal, not fantasy. The mind follows the body. If your fingertips know the texture of the outcome, your thoughts and choices start aligning with it automatically. Keep the scene simple and sensory. Feel the weight, temperature, and texture. Notice the room's quiet or hum. Let your shoulders soften as ownership settles in. Whisper, "If I can feel it, I can hold it," and let the sentence land in your chest, not just your head. That line converts possibility into proximity, close enough to touch, close enough to keep, close by, sealing the feeling, not the picture. Hold the afterglow for a few breaths, then release any grasping. Your job is to embody the signal. Life's job is to meet it with pathways and opportunities. Night after night, this practice builds a steady inner proof. Your desires aren't far away. You're already in contact with them. Chapter 12. The Currency of Trust. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Bianca stood beneath weathered awnings, clutching her ledger of debts and promises. Each day she would scan through names, dates, and amounts, checking and rechecking who owed what. Her mind spun with calculations, her spirit drained by constant vigilance. This exhausting ritual continued until one morning, when a strange peace washed over her. She closed the ledger and whispered, "Life, I trust you now." The universe responds to such moments of surrender. Within days, a forgotten loan was repaid. A client doubled their order. An old friend cleared a debt without being asked. Money flowed as naturally as water finding its path downhill. When you release your grip on how abundance must arrive, you open countless channels for its flow. Your rigid expectations act as dams, blocking prosperity's natural movement. Trust is the key that unlocks these barriers, allowing wealth to stream through paths you never imagined possible. Salvador's story mirrors this truth. Working at the local mill, his wages barely stretched between paydays. Yet one month, instead of anxiously counting days until his next check, he chose to trust. The universe will provide, he thought, releasing his worry into the morning air. That week, an unexpected surge in orders brought overtime hours. His supervisor, noticing his peaceful demeanor amid the chaos, offered him additional responsibility with higher pay. Trust operates as a magnetic force in the realm of abundance. When you trust deeply, you transmit a frequency that attracts corresponding experiences. Your faith becomes a beacon, drawing to you the very resources you need. This truth echoes through the ages. Abundance flows not to those who grasp and clutch, but to those who trust and allow. Every time you choose trust over worry, you align with the natural current of prosperity. Money, like all energy, moves toward spaces of acceptance and ease. Each morning, center yourself in silence and declare, "The universe provides for me before I even worry." Begin by letting the room grow quiet enough that you can hear your own breath. Sit tall, relax your shoulders, and feel the ground hold you. On your next slow exhale, speak softly, "The universe provides for me before I even worry." Let the words move at the pace of your breath, not your thoughts. You're telling your nervous system that support precedes stress, that help is already on the way, often before you even name the need. As you repeat it, picture small proofs arriving early. An unexpected idea, a timely message, a task finishing easier than planned. This trains your mind to notice provision instead of problems, shifting your set point from vigilance to trust. You're not asking the universe to bend its rules. You're aligning with a rule that's been steady all along. Life is biased toward growth, and you're included in that momentum. Seal the practice by feeling gratitude as if the day has already gone well. Inhale with the sense of being carried. Exhale any urge to rush or grasp. If worry arises later, pause and replay the line once, like a key that fits the same lock every time. Over days, this becomes a quiet habit. You center first, declare your safety second, and let the day meet you on that frequency. Chapter 13. The Magnet of Clarity. Once Celestina sat beneath the old olive tree in her garden, her heart heavy with uncertainty about her financial future. Night after night, she wondered why abundance seemed to dance around her, but never quite reached her doorstep. Then, in a moment of clarity, she took out her notebook and wrote down a precise figure. $3,427, the exact amount she needed monthly to live comfortably. The universe responds to precision with precision. Within days, a local shop offered her weekend work. A neighbor requested her expertise in organizing events. An online platform matched her skills perfectly. As the month drew to a close, Celestina counted her earnings. Exactly $3,427. Not a penny, more or less. When you name what you seek, you give the universe clear instructions. Like a master chef requiring exact measurements, the universal laws of abundance operate with mathematical precision. Your thoughts, when focused with laser-like clarity, become the mold into which abundance flows. This truth echoes through the ages. Vague wishes yield vague results, but precise intentions manifest precise outcomes. The universe doesn't respond to confusion. It aligns with clarity. Raoul discovered this wisdom in his own way. His family had long dreamed of visiting their grandmother, but the travel costs seemed beyond reach. One morning, guided by an inner whisper, he wrote $500 for a family trip on a simple note and placed it on his refrigerator. He looked at it each morning, feeling the joy of the future journey. 3 weeks passed, and his neighbor Antonio knocked on his door. "Remember that money I borrowed last year?" Antonio said, reaching into his wallet. "I finally can repay you." He handed Raoul exactly $500 in cash, a debt Raoul had completely forgotten. This ancient truth reveals itself. Money responds to clear direction. Like water finding its course through the earth, abundance flows toward those who mark its path with precision. When you dare to name your desired sum, you create a magnetic point for wealth to gather. The practice. Take a clean sheet of paper. In quiet solitude, write down the exact amount you seek. Place this number where you'll see it daily. Each time you pass it, touch the number and repeat. Money loves to meet me at the goal I name. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Fire of Desire Without Shame. Isabella lived modestly in a small coastal village where she ran a tiny shop selling handmade soaps. Each night she dreamed of expanding her business into a wellness sanctuary, but she quickly pushed these thoughts away, believing such grand visions inappropriate for someone of her standing. "Who do I want so much?" she would whisper to herself, folding her dreams smaller and smaller until they nearly disappeared. Yet the yearning in her heart refused to diminish. One evening, as she walked along the shore, a profound realization washed over her like the waves at her feet. Nature itself displayed no shame in its abundance. The ocean didn't apologize for its vastness, nor did the stars dim their light to appear more humble. That night, Isabella unfurled her dreams fully for the first time. She spoke them aloud, letting each word ring with conviction. A sanctuary of healing, gardens of aromatic herbs, treatment rooms filled with light, and people finding renewal within her walls. Within days, a wealthy traveler visited her shop, enchanted by her artisanal creations. Upon hearing Isabella speak passionately about her vision, the visitor offered to invest in her expansion. The universe had responded not to her previous whispers of shame, but to her voice of certainty. When desire flows unobstructed by doubt or apology, it becomes a magnet for manifestation. Like a flower turning naturally toward the sun, your soul's true desires are meant to reach for their fulfillment. Nicholas, an aspiring filmmaker, learned this truth in his own way. For years he downplayed his projects, calling them small independent films, until he began boldly declaring his vision for groundbreaking documentaries that would touch millions. He spoke of his projects with fire in his voice, no longer diminishing their scope. Within weeks, 3 major organizations approached him with funding offers, drawn to the unwavering clarity of his vision. This ancient wisdom reveals itself. Shame is the only barrier between you and your destiny. When you release the need to apologize for your desires, you allow the universe to match your bold vision with bold provision. The practice: whisper each night, "I am unashamed, my desires are holy, and wealth respects them." That whisper is a declaration of worthiness. By saying, "I am unashamed, my desires are holy," you strip away guilt and hesitation, recognizing that longing itself is not selfish but sacred. Desire is the compass of the soul, pointing you toward what nourishes and expands you. Naming it holy reframes it from something to hide into something to honor. The second half, "and wealth respects them," places money in its rightful role, a servant of your sacred direction, not a master over it. Instead of chasing or begging, you are declaring that abundance bends in reverence to what is true within you. Whispering this at night settles that truth into the subconscious just before sleep, letting it take root in the quiet soil of your resting mind. Over time, this practice erodes shame around wanting more. As you whisper, let your body relax and your chest soften, feeling how natural it is to want and to receive. The more you allow your desires to stand in the open, the more wealth becomes a companion to them, flowing in to sustain what is already holy within you. Chapter 15. The Law of Multiplication. In the heart of existence lies a truth as natural as breathing. What you nurture with attention blossoms into abundance. This wisdom unfolds through the story of Carmelita, who discovered this principle in her modest garden. Each morning, Carmelita would pause before a particularly vibrant sunflower, spending extra moments tending to its golden petals. She noticed something remarkable. As she focused her care on this single bloom, bees began arriving not just to this flower, but to every corner of her garden. The entire space transformed into a haven of activity and life, all from the attention she gave to one flourishing plant. This mirrors the universal law of multiplication. Your focused attention acts as a signal to the universe, calling forth more of what you appreciate. When you direct your energy towards something with love, you activate an ancient force that multiplies that very essence. Alejandro's experience further unveils this truth. One afternoon, he received an unexpected $20 bill as a tip. Instead of merely tucking it away, he held it with reverence, speaking words of gratitude over it. "Thank you for choosing me," he whispered, treating this small sum as if it were a precious gift. Within a week, his workplace announced surprise performance bonuses. Alejandro received hundreds of dollars, far more than he anticipated. The universe had responded to his gratitude for the smaller sum by multiplying it manifold. This principle operates with mathematical precision. Attention combined with appreciation creates multiplication. Like a spiritual magnet, your focus draws more of whatever you choose to honor. The key lies not in the size of what you begin with, but in the quality of attention you give it. Money, being energy in motion, responds to this same law. When you treat any amount with reverence, you signal to the universal forces that you are ready to be trusted with more. It's not about the quantity in your hands, but the quality of recognition you offer to what's present. The ancient practice. Hold money in your hand and affirm, "Everything I touch with love multiplies itself." Chapter 16. The Voice of Worthiness. In a small apartment in the heart of the city, Teresa sat surrounded by unpaid bills, her shoulders heavy with familiar shame. Each envelope seemed to whisper accusations, until one morning she paused before her mirror. Instead of averting her eyes as usual, she gazed steadily at her reflection and spoke words that would alter her destiny. "I am worthy, with or without these debts." The universe moves in response to inner knowing. When Teresa shifted her energy from shame to acceptance, an ancient law began working in her favor. Money, being energy in motion, responds not to the circumstances that bind you, but to the voice within that claims its freedom. For too long, humanity has believed that worth must be earned through struggle. Yet the deepest mysteries reveal that worth is your natural state, a birthright that requires no proof or permission. Teresa discovered that by declaring her worth independent of her bank balance, she activated a magnetic force stronger than any debt. The teaching speaks to this truth. Money flows not toward those who chase it in desperation, but toward those who stand firmly in their divine right to receive. When shame dissolves, abundance finds no barrier to its natural expression. Miguel, working in a small office, embodied this principle through a simple yet powerful practice. Each morning before entering his workplace, he would pause and whisper, "I deserve what is good." He didn't shout it or demand it. He simply stated it as natural law, like acknowledging the sun rises each day. Within weeks, his supervisor noticed a shift in his presence. Projects that once passed him by began landing on his desk. 2 promotions appeared within months, not because he had suddenly gained new skills, but because his energy had aligned with receiving. This truth echoes through the ages. Your worth is not measured by your wallet, but emanates from your spirit. When you declare this worth, money recognizes its rightful home. Look upward tonight and breathe. I am worth every blessing, and money knows it. Chapter 17. The Path of Surrender. In a small village among rolling hills, Rosa Maria ran her family's textile shop with meticulous precision. Each morning, she would draft elaborate business plans, create detailed schedules, and attempt to control every aspect of her enterprise. Yet despite her tireless efforts, prosperity remained elusive, slipping through her fingers like grains of sand. One evening, exhausted from another day of rigid planning, she watched a leaf dancing freely in the wind. In that moment, something within her shifted. She realized how tightly she had been gripping her desires, how desperately she had tried to force outcomes. With a deep breath, she released her iron grip on expectations. In the days that followed, Rosa Maria continued her work, but with a profound difference. She surrendered the need to control every detail. She focused simply on creating beautiful textiles, letting go of how success should arrive. Within weeks, a childhood friend who had moved to the city discovered her work and introduced her to high-end boutiques. Orders began flowing in effortlessly, bringing more abundance than her careful plans had ever achieved. This wisdom echoes through the ages. Surrender is not defeat, but rather the doorway through which miracles enter. When you release your grip on how wealth must arrive, you create space for the universe to work in ways far beyond your limited imagination. True power lies not in forcing outcomes, but in trusting the natural flow of abundance. Consider Enrique, who faced mounting bills with growing panic. Each night, he would stay awake calculating and recalculating, trying to solve his financial challenges through worry. One day, instead of succumbing to anxiety, he chose to sit quietly in his garden, surrendering his fears to the universe. He began treating his bills not as burdens, but as opportunities to trust in something greater than himself. Within days, an unexpected solution emerged. A client offered advance payment for services, providing exactly what he needed. His surrender had created the perfect conditions for abundance to flow. This ancient truth reveals itself. When you cease struggling against the current of life, you allow universal forces to work on your behalf. Surrender signals your readiness to receive in ways you may never have imagined. It is not passive resignation, but rather active trust in the infinite wisdom of the universe. As you breathe tonight, say, I release control and open to receive. Chapter 18. The Frequency of Celebration. In the hidden rhythms of abundance, Gloria discovered a truth so simple it seemed almost childlike. Each morning, as she walked to the marketplace, her eyes would catch the glint of forgotten coins on the ground. Where others passed by these small treasures, she would pause, pick them up with reverence, and burst into spontaneous celebration. Look what the universe has blessed me with, she would exclaim, holding each coin up to the sunlight as if it were a precious gem. Some passers-by smiled at her enthusiasm, others shook their heads at what seemed like foolishness. Yet Gloria understood something they did not: the magnetic power of pure joy. Within weeks of beginning this practice, larger sums began finding their way to her, and forgotten savings accounts surfaced, containing far more than she remembered. A relative's will included her name, bringing an unexpected inheritance. The universe seemed to mirror her enthusiasm for small amounts by sending ever larger ones. The law at work here is both subtle and powerful. Celebration raises your energetic frequency, creating a magnetic field that attracts more reasons to celebrate. When you honor the presence of money in any amount, you signal to the universe your readiness for greater abundance. Hector grasped this principle through his children's natural wisdom. Every Friday evening, he gathered his little ones to celebrate their week's achievements. A good grade, a kind deed, a new skill learned. They would dance, laugh, and mark even the smallest victories with unbridled joy. As this ritual of celebration became part of their family culture, Hector noticed something extraordinary. His business began thriving in unexpected ways. New clients sought him out. Partners proposed profitable ventures. What began as a simple family tradition had awakened a powerful force of attraction. Money, like all energy, responds to the quality of attention it receives. When you celebrate its presence, whether a penny or a fortune, you create a vibrational invitation for more to arrive. This is not mere coincidence, but rather the operation of an ancient law. What you celebrate multiplies. Dance, clap, or sing whenever money appears, no matter the size. Say, "Celebration multiplies my wealth." Chapter 19. The Signature of Abundance. The power of symbols has been whispered through ancient halls of wisdom, passed down by those who understood their magnetic force. In this truth lies a key to unlocking wealth's flowing gates. Your personal mark upon the physical world creates ripples in the invisible realm of manifestation. Elena discovered this wisdom through innocent play. While signing business correspondence one afternoon, she began embellishing her signature with flowing dollar signs, allowing her pen to dance across the paper with childlike freedom. What seemed like mere decoration carried a deeper significance. She was unknowingly encoding her intentions into physical form. Within days, her phone began ringing more frequently. New clients appeared as if drawn by an unseen force. Projects that had stalled suddenly gained momentum. The simple act of marking her intention through playful symbols had activated a current of abundance that could not be denied. This truth echoes through all traditions. Symbols are bridges between thought and form, between spirit and matter. When you consciously create a mark that represents abundance, you forge a connection between your inner vision and the outer world. This is not mere superstition, but rather the application of universal law. Energy follows intention made visible. Pepe's story further unveils this principle's power. As a student dreaming of higher education but facing financial barriers, he began adorning his notebooks with a unique symbol he created to represent abundance. It was simple, an upward spiral with 3 lines crossing through it. Yet it carried his complete focus and faith. Each time he drew this mark, he felt a subtle shift in his energy, as though his intention was being pressed into physical reality. Within months, notification letters arrived. Scholarships he hadn't even applied for found their way to him, offering exactly what he needed to attend his chosen university. This was no coincidence. His personal abundance mark had become a beacon, broadcasting his intention into the universal field of possibility. The symbol acted as an anchor, holding his vision steady until physical reality aligned with it. The physical act of marking your intention creates a bridge between thought and manifestation. Your unique symbol becomes a focal point for the universe's abundant energy, directing it toward your desires with precise accuracy. Draw a symbol of wealth beside your name and whisper, "My mark calls money faithfully." Chapter 20. The Sacred Gesture of Giving. In the intricate tapestry of universal law, giving stands as one of the most potent forces for attracting abundance. This truth reveals itself through Lucinda's simple yet profound practice with her homemade tortillas. Each morning, as steam rises from her comal, Lucinda wraps fresh tortillas in cloth with the same reverence others might handle precious gems. To her neighbor, she presents these daily offerings not as mere food, but as tokens of divine abundance. Her hands extend the package with such grace and joy that the very act transforms into a ceremony of prosperity. What followed defied mundane explanations. Her own pantry began filling mysteriously, a cousin bringing excess produce, a local store offering her first pick of bulk items at reduced prices, neighbors sharing their garden harvests. The universe responded to her generous spirit by ensuring she never lacked. This unveils a fundamental truth of abundance. Giving is not an act of loss, but a declaration of trust in life's endless flow. When you give with joy, you demonstrate absolute faith that the universe's resources are infinite. This faith becomes the magnet that draws more abundance toward you. Estefan's experience illuminates this principle further. Walking downtown one afternoon, he encountered a street musician whose melody touched his heart. Instead of hurrying past like others, he stopped to drop coins into the musician's case, experiencing genuine pleasure in the giving. The musician's grateful smile was rewarded enough, yet the universe had more in store. Days later, while cleaning his desk, Estefan discovered a forgotten raffle ticket. That same ticket would soon award him a sum that far exceeded his modest gift to the musician. This shows how giving operates as a spiritual law, not as sacrifice, but as circulation. Every gift offered with genuine joy sends ripples through the invisible fabric of abundance, returning multiplied in unexpected ways. Give something, however small, today, while blessing aloud, every gift I release returns multiplied. Part 3. Living in Overflow and Destiny. Chapter 21. The Throne of Abundance. In the heart of a modest apartment, Mariana sits at her small desk, bills scattered before her like fallen leaves. Her shoulders, once hunched with worry, now straighten as she imagines a golden chair beneath her. Each bill becomes not a burden, but an opportunity to practice her newfound authority. She pays them with the grace of one who knows abundance flows eternally, transforming what was once a monthly ritual of stress into a ceremony of serenity. Within weeks, unexpected opportunities emerge. Her part-time work brings in new clients, referrals multiply, and her income grows as naturally as a well-tended garden. The universe responds not to her circumstances, but to her inner posture of abundance. Your physical bearing carries a magnetic force. When you position yourself as royalty in the kingdom of wealth, the very atmosphere around you shifts. Money responds not to desperate pleading, but to the quiet authority of one who knows their true station. This is not arrogance, but the natural alignment with universal law. In the markets of the ancient world, a merchant named Damien discovered this truth. Though his shop was small, he began carrying himself with the dignity of a steward of great wealth. He walked tall among his wares, treating each transaction as a sacred exchange. Soon, wealthy investors noticed his bearing before they noticed his business. They approached him with opportunities, drawn not by his current circumstances, but by the aura of abundance he cultivated. This transformation reveals a timeless principle. Wealth responds to identity before it responds to action. When you embody abundance in your very being, money recognizes its master. It bows not to the size of your account, but to the magnitude of your self-recognition. Your relationship with wealth is not determined by external circumstances, but by the throne you build within. Each bill paid becomes an act of sovereignty, each financial decision a royal decree. Money serves those who know themselves as its rightful stewards. Sit upright tonight, whispering, "I sit on wealth's throne. Money serves me faithfully." Chapter 22. The Invisible Handshake. In the bustling marketplace of life, unseen forces move through every interaction. Luce understands this ancient truth as she greets each person entering her small shop. Beyond the exchange of currency lies a deeper transaction, one of energy and intention. With each customer, she silently weaves a blessing, abundance for both. Like invisible threads of gold, these intentions begin weaving a tapestry of prosperity. Within months, her modest store transforms. Customers return more frequently, bringing friends. Her shelves seem to restock themselves as though guided by an unseen hand. The universe responds not to her words, but to the silent agreements she creates in each moment of connection. Each human interaction carries the power of unspoken contracts. When you meet another soul, energetic agreements form in the space between words. These contracts, though invisible to the eye, hold more power than written documents. They operate in the realm where abundance truly flows. Ricardo discovers this wisdom during a routine business meeting. As he extends his hand to shake with his colleague, he infuses the gesture with pure intention for mutual prosperity. This simple act, charged with conscious energy, sets in motion forces beyond physical sight. Within weeks, an opportunity emerges that neither could have orchestrated alone, a joint venture that lifts both their enterprises to new heights. This transformation illuminates a fundamental truth. Money responds more to the energy we project than to the words we speak. Like a subtle perfume, your intentions permeate every interaction, creating an invisible field of attraction or repulsion around wealth. Your everyday encounters are not mere social exchanges. They are opportunities to seal energetic contracts with the universe. Each handshake becomes a channel for abundance, each conversation a bridge for prosperity to cross. As you move through your day, you weave these golden threads of intention, creating a network through which wealth naturally flows. Each handshake, thought, or eye contact, bless silently. Prosperity flows between us. Chapter 23. The Radiance of Generosity. In a small bakery tucked away on a quiet street, Yesenia placed fresh pan dulce in her display case each morning. While others warned her that giving away bread would harm her business, she followed an inner wisdom that told her otherwise. Each day she chose one customer to receive a free piece of sweet bread, wrapping it with the same care as if they had paid full price. At first, this practice seemed to go against all business sense, yet something magical began to unfold. The more she gave with genuine joy, the more her shelves emptied of paid purchases. Her regular customers began bringing friends, and those friends brought others. Within months, her small bakery's profits had doubled, then tripled. Through Yesenia's experience, we glimpse a truth as old as commerce itself. Generosity creates an energy that multiplies far beyond its initial investment. When we give without expectation, we tap into the infinite flow of abundance that governs all things. This principle found another expression through Armida, who worked at a local community center. Despite her busy schedule, she began dedicating one evening each week to teaching art to children, refusing any payment. Her heart simply told her it was right. Then, without any connection to her volunteer work, her employer called her in one day with news of an unexpected bonus, one that far exceeded the value of her donated time. The universe operates on an invisible economy of energy. When we release our grip on scarcity and fear, when we dare to give freely, we demonstrate our trust in life's abundance. This trust becomes a magnetic force, drawing prosperity toward us through unexpected channels. What appears as loss in the material world often transforms into gain in the spiritual realm, which then manifests again in material form, multiplied. This is not coincidence, but cosmic law in action. Every act of genuine giving sends ripples through the fabric of reality, returning to us in waves of abundance. Your inner spirit knows this truth. Deep within, you understand that generosity is not a diminishing force, but a multiplying one. When you give with joy, you align yourself with the very nature of the universe, which is endless expansion and growth. The ancient practice that flows from this wisdom is simple yet powerful. Each week, offer something small with joy, whispering, "This act shines wealth's light around me." Chapter 24. The Garden of Words. In a humble village where morning dew sparkled like diamonds, Silvano discovered an ancient truth through the simplest of actions. Each dawn, as the sun painted gold across his window, he began speaking to ordinary objects as though they held royal lineage. His chipped coffee mug became "my chalice of prosperity," the worn kitchen table transformed into "my abundance altar," and his weathered work boots became "my path to fortune." At first, this practice felt peculiar, even foolish, yet Silvano persisted, infusing every word with genuine appreciation. His rusty bicycle became "my noble steed," and the coins in his pocket seeds of wealth. Within weeks, an extraordinary shift occurred. His supervisor noticed his radiant presence and recommended him for 3 different positions, each offering greater responsibility and reward. The universe responds not to what your eyes perceive, but to what your words decree. When you speak nobility into the mundane, you activate an ancient alchemy that transforms the ordinary into extraordinary. Your tongue holds the power to reshape reality's fabric, for the language you choose programs the frequency you broadcast. In another part of town, Petra embraced this wisdom in her own way. She took an empty glass jar, once destined for recycling, and crowned it with purpose. "You are my millionaire seed," she declared each morning, dropping in whatever coins she could spare. What began as a simple practice soon attracted mysterious momentum. A forgotten rebate arrived in the mail. A client doubled their usual payment in gratitude. Even a street vendor returned excess change, each contribution finding its way to her jar. This demonstrates the magnetic power of naming. When you christen something with greatness, it begins to answer to its new identity. Money, being energy in motion, flows toward those who speak its language with reverence and expectation. Tonight, stand in your space and speak royalty into the ordinary. Your chair becomes a throne, your home a palace of possibility, your wallet a treasure chest. Look upon each item with fresh eyes and proclaim, "This is treasure. I live among treasures." Chapter 25. The Light of Relaxation. In the bustling streets of a vibrant marketplace, Florencia arranges fresh flowers at her small stand, each stem placed with unhurried grace. In the past, she would rush through her arrangements, anxious about making enough sales. Yet she discovers an unexpected truth. On days when she works with peaceful attention, allowing each movement to flow naturally, her earnings multiply without effort. The universe speaks through this simple observation. Relaxation carries a magnetic power that draws abundance closer. When your energy field is clear of anxiety's static, wealth flows unimpeded. Like water finding its natural course, money moves most freely toward those who rest in quiet certainty. Tension creates resistance, while calm creates conductivity. This is not mere coincidence, but a fundamental law of energy. Your relaxed state broadcasts a powerful message to the universe. I trust in abundance. This signal reaches far beyond your conscious mind, touching the very fabric of material reality. Think of wealth as a shy creature. It approaches most readily when you sit still, when your energy is settled and inviting. Struggle and strain only serve to push it away. This is why those who chase money frantically often find it elusive, while those who move with serene confidence seem to attract it effortlessly. Carmelo, a seasoned salesman, stumbles upon this wisdom through experience. Before each sales call, he takes 3 deep breaths, allowing his mind to settle into tranquil clarity. This simple practice transforms his results dramatically. Where once he pushed anxiously to close deals, he now finds himself engaging in flowing conversations that naturally lead to larger contracts than he ever imagined possible. His story illuminates a vital truth. Money responds not to desperate grasping, but to composed certainty. When you release the frantic need to control outcomes, you create space for abundance to enter naturally. Like a garden that grows best when not constantly disturbed, wealth flourishes in the soil of peaceful attention. This principle extends beyond mere financial transactions. It becomes a way of moving through life. Every interaction, every decision, every moment carries more power when approached from a place of calm certainty rather than anxious need. Take this wisdom into your own practice. Before any financial activity, whether paying bills, making investments, or receiving payment, pause to find your center. Let your breath slow, your shoulders drop, your mind clear. Feel the difference between pushing and allowing, between straining and receiving. Before sleeping tonight, lie quietly and say these words: I relax. Money knows where to find me. Chapter 26. The Symphony of Money. In the warmth of a summer evening, Isidro sits on his porch, guitar resting naturally in his hands. Without agenda or expectation, he lets melodies flow freely, playing simply for the joy of sharing music with friends gathered nearby. As the notes drift into the night air, something remarkable unfolds. Passers-by begin dropping coins and bills into his open guitar case, though he never asked for compensation. This spontaneous abundance reveals a profound truth about the nature of wealth. When you align your natural gifts with pure joy, money cannot help but follow. It is not the striving or selling that attracts prosperity, but the authentic expression of your inner light. The universe responds most generously when you offer your gifts without attachment to reward. Like water flowing downhill, abundance seeks its natural course toward those who create harmony between their talents and their joy. Adelina discovers this same principle in her kitchen, where her hands move with inherited wisdom through ancient recipes. She cooks not to build a business, but because the act itself brings her deep satisfaction. Yet, as she shares her creations, word spreads of the love infused in every dish. Without forceful marketing or anxious promotion, her small catering service grows organically into a thriving enterprise. Her story demonstrates how prosperity naturally companions those who harmonize their innate gifts with genuine pleasure. When you operate from this place of alignment, you need not chase success. It rises to meet you like steam from a perfectly simmered pot. This truth transcends mere skill or effort. It speaks to a deeper resonance between your authentic expression and the abundant nature of the universe. When you allow your natural talents to dance with joy, you create a magnetic field that wealth cannot resist. State with quiet confidence, "My joy is a song, and money dances to it." Chapter 27. The Shadow of Fear Dissolved. In the quiet hours before dawn, Candelaria stood at her window, watching shadows retreat as light crept across the city. Her hands trembled each time she opened her wallet, anticipating loss rather than gain. This fear had become her constant companion, whispering warnings that kept her clutching tightly to every coin. The universe speaks in the language of energy. What you consistently feed with attention grows stronger. As Candelaria repeated her mantra of scarcity, her wallet seemed to conspire with her fears, growing lighter by the day. Yet within this darkness lay a profound truth waiting to be uncovered. One morning, gazing at her reflection, she spoke directly to her fear. "I see you. You no longer control my relationship with abundance." In that moment of acknowledgement, something shifted. The energy that had been locked in resistance began to flow. Within weeks, unexpected opportunities arose: a promotion, an inheritance, investments bearing fruit. This transformation reveals an ancient principle. Fear is merely a shadow cast by limiting beliefs. When you shine the light of awareness upon it, the shadow dissolves, revealing that abundance was never truly absent. It was simply obscured by your own resistance. Mariano's story echoes this truth. For years, he delayed launching his business, paralyzed by visions of failure. His mind crafted elaborate scenarios of loss until one day he realized these fears were phantoms, no more substantial than morning mist. The moment he faced them directly, declaring, "I am ready to succeed," the universe responded. Clients appeared, partnerships formed, and opportunities that had seemed locked behind doors of fear swung wide open. Fear, once confronted, transforms from obstacle to catalyst. It becomes the very fuel that propels you toward greater abundance. Every time you choose to face what frightens you, you demonstrate to the universe your readiness to receive more. The ancient masters understood this principle. What you resist persists, but what you embrace transforms. Money, being energy, responds not to your words alone, but to the vibration of your entire being. When fear no longer holds your energy hostage, wealth flows naturally, like water finding its course. Say aloud, "I fear nothing. I am crowned by wealth." Chapter 28. The crown of gratitude expanded. In a small apartment overlooking the city, Paula kept a simple practice. Each morning she would pause at her window and whisper, "Thank you," to the rising sun. At first, this ritual seemed insignificant, a quiet moment before rushing to her office job. Yet something shifted when she began extending her gratitude beyond the tangible. She thanked the air in her lungs, the steady beat of her heart, the strength in her hands. She expressed appreciation for her colleagues, even those who challenged her. She blessed her modest salary, her aging car, the coins in her purse. What began as a morning ritual expanded into an endless song of thanksgiving that played through every moment of her day. Within weeks, her supervisor called her into the office. Instead of the usual performance review, she received an unexpected promotion, one that doubled her income. Yet this was merely the beginning. Opportunities appeared as if summoned by an unseen force. Business connections emerged from chance encounters. Investment returns multiplied without explanation. The flow of abundance paralleled the expansion of her gratitude. The more she thanked me, the more life offered to be thankful for. The teaching reveals an ancient truth. Gratitude is not merely an attitude, but a magnetic force. When you extend appreciation beyond the material realm into the very essence of existence, you activate a circuit of endless prosperity. In another part of the city, Gerardo discovered this same principle through family connection. Every evening at dinner, he gathered his loved ones to practice gracias por todo, thanks for everything. They gave thanks not just for the food, but for each other's presence, for their dreams, for the challenges that strengthened them. Soon their collective gratitude created a field of magnetic abundance. Gerardo's business flourished. His children excelled in school. His wife's art began selling in galleries. Their home became a beacon of prosperity, drawing more blessings with each expression of thanks. The interpretation illuminates this truth. Gratitude multiplied becomes an unstoppable force. It transforms from a simple practice into a state of being that magnetizes wealth in all forms. When thanksgiving flows not just from your lips but from the depths of your soul, the universe responds with overwhelming generosity. Tonight's practice. Whisper after meals. I am rich, and gratitude grows endlessly. Chapter 29. The Promise of Alignment. High in an apartment overlooking the bustling city streets, Dominga watched people rushing to their morning commute. For years, she too had been part of that frantic dance, pushing, striving, forcing every outcome through sheer will. Yet, despite her constant effort, financial freedom remained elusive. One morning, something within her shifted. Instead of jumping into her usual rushed routine, she paused. Taking a deep breath, she chose to move through her day differently. No forcing, no struggling, only flowing with what felt naturally aligned. She began declining projects that drained her energy, even when they promised quick money. She stopped checking her phone compulsively for work messages. Instead of racing to catch every opportunity, she moved with grace, choosing only those paths that resonated with her inner wisdom. What followed seemed like magic. Within weeks, long-standing debts began resolving themselves. A forgotten investment matured at precisely the right moment. A client doubled their contract without her asking. The universe appeared to clear her financial burdens with an ease she had never known possible. This reveals a profound truth. Alignment is power. When you cease struggling against the current of life and instead flow with its natural rhythm, you remove the resistance that slows abundance. Money, being energy, moves swiftly toward those who maintain harmony with universal flow. Raulito discovered this same principle through a different door. For years, he started each workday in a state of anxious preparation, checking accounts and projections before sunrise. His mind raced with worries about deadlines and deliverables. Then he made a simple but powerful shift. Instead of beginning his days with panic, he devoted his first hour to meditation. In this space of aligned peace, solutions appeared effortlessly. His mind, no longer clouded by anxiety, saw opportunities his previous rushed state had missed. Within a month, his commissions tripled. Clients sought him out, drawn to his newfound centered presence. Projects that once required intense effort now unfolded naturally, as if guided by an invisible hand. This interpretation reveals a timeless truth. Alignment is the straight road to abundance, while misalignment creates detours and delays. When you walk in harmony with universal energy, wealth finds you at double speed. Say tomorrow, I walk aligned, and wealth rushes to meet me. Chapter 30. The Destiny of Overflow. In a small village where scarcity had long cast its shadow, Susanna awoke one morning with an inner knowing that shook her world. Rather than seeing abundance as a fleeting visitor, she embraced it as her destined companion. Each morning she would touch the earth beneath her feet and whisper, "This is my inheritance." Within days, opportunities began flowing, not in timid trickles but in waves that exceeded her boldest dreams. The universe responds not to what you request, but to what you claim as your divine right. When you finally understand that abundance is your natural state, you remove the barriers of doubt that have kept wealth at bay. Like air filling your lungs, prosperity becomes not a privilege to be earned, but a birthright to be embraced. Lorenzo's tale mirrors this truth. After years of viewing wealth as something to chase, he shifted his perspective entirely. Each evening, he would stand before his window and say these words, "Abundance is mine always." The transformation was remarkable, not because the words were magical, but because they aligned him with an ancient truth. His business difficulties dissolved, relationships flourished, and resources appeared as naturally as sunrise follows dawn. This is not mere coincidence. When you declare abundance as your permanent state, you align with the universe's natural flow. Think of a river. It doesn't question its right to flow, nor does it apologize for its depth. It simply moves in accordance with its nature. Your relationship with abundance must mirror this truth. The power lies not in hoping for prosperity, but in knowing it as your established destiny. This knowledge creates a magnetic field that draws wealth naturally, without strain or struggle. It transforms your relationship with money from one of pursuit to one of natural attraction. Stand, lift your head, and declare, "Overflow is my destiny, and abundance is permanent." If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Throughout these sacred chapters, an ancient truth has revealed itself. The energy of money is not meant to be feared or resisted, but embraced as your divine companion. You have walked through doorways of understanding, discovering that wealth responds not to desperate pleas, but to the authority of your awakened consciousness. Each whispered affirmation, every moment of gratitude, all acts of joyful giving have sculpted you into a vessel worthy of abundance. The universe has shown you through countless demonstrations that money flows naturally toward those who stand in their power, speak with conviction, and live in alignment with prosperity's principles. What was once viewed as forbidden knowledge now shines as natural law. Wealth multiplies where it is welcomed, honored, and trusted. You have learned that your voice carries creative force, your imagination shapes reality, and your grateful heart magnetizes more to be grateful for. The practices shared in these chapters are not mere exercises. They are keys to a transformed relationship with universal abundance. As you have discovered, money is neither master nor mysterious force, but an eager ally awaiting your confident command. This wisdom, long hidden beneath layers of lack consciousness, now lives within you. You understand that overflow is not an occasional blessing, but your natural state. The energy once labeled forbidden is simply the power that was always yours to claim. Let these teachings continue to work their alchemy in your life. Each morning's gratitude, each blessed transaction, each moment of joyful expectation strengthens your connection to the infinite flow of abundance. You are now awakened to your true heritage as a channel of prosperity, a keeper of wealth's sacred laws, and a master of money's obedient energy. Remember, abundance is not your aspiration, it is your essence. Wealth is not your goal, it is your birthright. Overflow is not your dream, it is your destiny.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.